This is Ray.
And this is Andy.
And this is FDS Local Sports Update.
How's it going, Ray?
It's going fantastic. How about you, Andy?
I cannot complain at all.
Back to 2 weeks in a row. You're not taking a break in between episodes?
No, I'll give it a few more weeks before I disappear again.
All right, sounds good. Andy, we had a fantastic weekend. Lots of sports to talk about.
Let's do it.
It's going to be mainly football-oriented today, but we do have some rugby at the end. But... Andy, there was a great football game we went to this weekend because it's the Maritime Football League semifinals. We were in playoffs this week.
What a blast that was. It was the Island Mariners coming into Moncton to face our Moncton Mustangs, who were undefeated so far in the year. We were expecting a pretty high-scoring game, I think. We talked before the game. The two teams combined for like 120 points or something the week before.
17 touchdowns.
Absolutely nuts. So we were expecting fireworks, an amazing game, and we got that, but not quite in the form of offense the way we were thinking. Ray asked me at the beginning of the game, Andy, what do you think now? Because we talked to both coaches, and both coaches said, well, we're not too sure it's going to be the same as last week. I thought they were just hedging their bets. I thought for sure 100 points between the two teams. After the first quarter, I looked like an idiot.
So did I, because I thought we were going to see we thought we were going to see numbers going up like crazy, and that just wasn't so much the case, was it?
The first quarter of this game ended 3-0 PEI. There was a Brennan Davis field goal, 33-yard field goal, and otherwise it was just nonstop action in the trenches.
Hold on. Brennan Davis kicked that field goal?
Yes, he did.
Isn't he the quarterback?
This guy does everything on that team.
And we'll get into that a little bit later in the update.
Absolutely. So after the first quarter, 3-0, just tough football. We were sitting up at, what's the name of the bar there again?
The Lounge.
The Lounge. We were up at the Lounge watching the game going, I wonder if they're ever going to get closer or further away from us. The entire first quarter took place in the center of the field. And we were certainly wrong about this 100 points, but we still had faith, right?
Oh, yeah.
80-some points. Second quarter is when, how there's a TD comfort zone in Rogers Stadium?
Yeah.
Well, there's a Dan comfort zone at Rocky Stone. All right.
Nice.
That's when Dan Comfort and the Moncton Mustangs got rolling. There was a 9-yard touchdown pass to Chris Brown to start off the second quarter. And we were thinking, all right, the Monktons caught their stride. Can the Island do the same? Not so much on offense, but then the play of the game, Cole Bridges, he blocks the punt. He was there so early to block the punt. I mean, it was insane. He blocks it. He recovers it. He also returns it 25 yards for the touchdown. Wow, we started thinking this is going to be a game, right?
He's a freak athlete. It was a very exciting play. Again, this kid plays wide receiver. He was lined up on the end, got around the end, no problem, blocks it, recovers it, touchdown, unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were thinking, all right, this is really going to be a game. It seemed like it totally changed the momentum a little bit. The Mustangs weren't really firing on all cylinders anymore, but then late in the second quarter, that Dan Comfort zone hits again.
He did.
They found their big green chairs. That's an inside joke.
Little inside grant.
And he throws an amazing 40-yard bomb to Ben George, and I mean, I don't think there was much time left on the clock. I don't know if you recall.
7 seconds.
7 seconds left on the call. And he threw it to Chris Brown. Did I say Ben George?
You said Ben George.
Ben George had the convert after that. Ben George is a great special teams player. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him out there at receiver, but sorry about that. Chris Brown, who had an absolutely amazing game, had that awesome catch. So we're going into the half. It's 14-10, a tight game. What were you thinking, Ray?
Well, again, I don't know if you remember, we were in our halftime discussion about this game. We were talking about what would you be saying to your teams as a coach. Mm-hmm. PEI, they were within 3 points of the lead heading into the half. I think they would have been happy with that at the beginning of the game. Mm-hmm. But Moncton, who could have gone into the halftime down, definitely went up with a little bit of charge in the fact that they got that late touchdown score by Dan Comfort.
For sure. All right, we jump into the third quarter, and things kick off, and again, Dan Comfort strolls right down the field and actually runs in a 2-yard touchdown run to go up 21-10. Not a lot else happened in the quarter except the Mariners really made Jeannie B smile because her favorite play of the game, a rouge, happens, and all of a sudden it's 21-11. The fourth quarter comes. Alex Blouin shows his dominance as he's in there for Aubrey Ellis this week, and he has a pair of touchdown runs. And then the Moncton tacked on a rouge of their own to go up 36-11. Then our buddy Cole Bridges, who we're going to talk about quite a bit, because I mean, all you heard was Cole Bridges all day long on the from the announcer. He has that 75-yard touchdown run to bring it 36-18. I mean, the Mariners were down. I think they kind of lost their mojo a little bit, but nothing like a 75-yard run to get a little pep in their step, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What a great play. And then the game was basically over at that point. Moncton had a healthy lead. Ben George tacked on another field goal, 39-18. And the only other play I want to really bring focus to, again, as you mentioned, our Davis, Brendan Davis, how he plays quarterback, kicker. You know, we moved from the lounge to the sidelines to get a different perspective of the game for a little while. And the Mariners surprised the Mustangs with an onside kick. And
the Mustangs surprised the Mariners.
Sorry about that.
An onside kick.
The Mustangs surprised the Mariners, and there was a Mariner in perfect position to recover that. And it's the quarterback.
It's the quarterback,
Brendan Davis. We're like, wait, that's the quarterback, isn't it? Yeah. So this guy does everything
Kicker,
on the field.
Quarterback, and special teams specialist.
Absolutely. What a game, guys. It was an excellent day at the football field. The weather was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And the Mustangs are moving on. Now, to talk some stats a little bit here, as always, the Mustangs give out their Players of the Week, Players of the Game awards. So let's run through them really quickly. Okay. Offensive Player of the Game. How could you give it to anybody? There were plenty of deserving guys, but how could you give it to anybody other than Dan Comfort, the Dan Comfort Zone over at Rocky Stone? Listen, we're going to get some green chairs for that place because... Yeah, and we'll call TD, see if they want in on that, right? All right, Dan Comfort, 14 for 27, 226 yards. He had 2 touchdowns in the air, and he ran one in like we talked about. But, I mean, we got to talk a little bit about Alex Blouin again. 21 carries, 159 yards, and he had those 2 touchdowns as well. And receiver Chris Brown, 5 receptions, 95 yards, and 1 touchdown. So plenty of deserving candidates for Offensive Player of the Game, but it has to go to the signal caller, man. The quarterback, they take all the blame, and they get all the glory, right?
That's it.
That's the way football works, guys. So we had co-defensive players of the game, of the game, and that was Alec Pellerin and Andrew Oak.
Yes.
Pellerin, 6.5 tackles and 2 sacks, causing all kinds of problems. And Andrew Oak, 6 tackles, and he had a pick as well.
He had a pick. It was very late in the game in the fourth quarter. The Mariners are making another drive, and Davis throws a ball over the middle. Oak receives it at the 1-yard line and takes it back 33 yards, Andy.
Absolutely. He had a great game. And another special shout-out to a defensive player, Ben Dunstan, had 2 sacks.
Wow.
So he was causing some problems, too. Can you guess who the special teams player of the week might have been, Ray?
The special teams player of the week. Well, it always seems to be Ben George.
And this week didn't fail us. Once again, Ben George, special teams player of the week. He had 5 converts. He had a field goal. He had a rouge. Listen, if you get a rouge, you're winning awards.
You're in the books.
You're winning awards. If you didn't win this, Ben, Jeannie B would be giving you some sort of trophy just for the rouge because she was super excited about that. 168 kickoff yards as well. Wow. And the Heart and Hustle players of the week, and that's brought to you by Rehab One Performance Center, by the way.
Whoa, very good.
Yeah. Trenton Bannister, number 13. Great number, Trenton. Always been my number as well. And number 87, Chris Brown, who we talked about. Yeah, so
awesome.
On to the championship.
Well, before we get to the championship, I got to give you the highlights of the next semifinal.
Since we looked like crazy to find out who actually won the other semifinal game and never found out, I'm glad you found out in time for this show.
I did. Coach J.J. Jowdry got in touch with me. He tells me Halifax came out very strong in the first half with taking a lead in the first half, 10-7. They had very strong defense, both from their linebacking and their defensive back crews. But in the second half, the St. John Wanderers woke up and outscored Halifax 25-0. And they won this game 35-10.
Okay.
Now, from the Wanderers' perspective, Josh Brown had an amazing game. This guy was all over the field making tackles, and he completely took control from a linebacker perspective. It was unbelievable. He was also their leader in tackles.
Nice.
Alex McGarvey, cornerback, he made some outstanding plays with big hits to break up plays, Andy. He had an interception and played another big role in shutting down the Halifax running game from a cornerback perspective. So great for him. John Galacki. And we're going to be talking about this guy in a few.
Quarterback.
He had another outstanding, gritty performance. And I was told it was almost Michael Vick-like. As this guy ran, he put up quite a few yards in running the ball, ran in for 2 touchdowns as well.
Wow.
So
Michael Vick.
He took the ball twice into the end zone. You also have to mention running back Tyler Kernew. Okay. He ate up a lot of the clock in the second half. He put up over 100 yards, a touchdown as well. The offensive line was outstanding, and the defense had one of the best games of the year. So there you go. St. John knocks off Halifax 35-10, and we got a rematch of last year's Maritime Bowl, except for, Andy, there's a big difference.
And what's that?
It's being hosted in Moncton this year.
Which is awesome. Now let's get into that game for a second. But before we do, I really think this show needs some sort of unsolved mystery segment or something like that. Or we need you guys out there to help us get our show or get some listeners into Halifax, because we've been asking for the entire season who is playing quarterback for the Halifax Harbor Hawks. Their season is done and we still don't know.
We don't know.
So it's not too late, guys. If somebody can let us know who's playing quarterback for this team, because we keep asking, be much appreciated.
We want to, hopefully the guy that started the Halifax Harbor Hawks team this year, the quarterback that went down, hopefully he's back next year and gets his team back up and running.
I have no doubt that he will be, but and then we won't have to ask this question apparently.
Let's talk about the potential championship. Now, we're going to talk real brief here because we want you all to turn into First Down Sports Facebook page on Saturday to hear our pregame review. But this is a big game. Moncton's got Aubrey Ellis back off his little personal time off.
There we go.
Right? They've got Alex Blouin, who is going to still help out, and you got Mark Crandall running the ball down at the goal line. So their running backs is stacked. Like, they're going to have a great
3-headed monster right there with those three, and Crandall as well. I mean, apparently he can't feel anything below his waist after the games, but that's all right.
There you go.
Fresh legs, right?
You can't forget about the other members of the offense. We've talked about Daniel Comfort, Leslie Green, top receiver. On defense, they've got Andrew Oak, Drew Guimond, Derek Burgess, and Alex Pellerin, who you talked about. And don't forget, at the back of that defense playing safety, we haven't talked about him a whole lot, but he's going to have a huge role this week, and that's number 6, Bobby McIntyre.
There you go.
All right. Over on the St. John's side, again, some of these names we've just heard. John Galacki, Tyler Kernew, Nick Bienkowski, who is always coming up in our updates, Rob Fox, Chris Freak. We talked about this kid a lot. He was all over the place at the beginning of the year.
Best name in the MFL.
He needs to get going again. Plus, again, they got Josh Brown and Chris Reed. So this is going to be an outstanding game. Make sure you get down to the event. It's going to be a phenomenal football game to watch. And I don't know if we should talk about this right now, but maybe we will, Andy. I'm going to give you guys a little teaser. You have to turn into our Facebook page, First Down Sports Podcast, because we may be having a special event a little later this week with regards to the MFL.
Yeah, there might be something really cool coming potentially on Thursday this week, but otherwise we're going to be there at the game on Saturday as well. We're going to be live for our pregame. We're going to be live for our halftime. We're going to be live at the postgame. We'll grab a couple interviews in there if we can and talk to the team. And the way that you catch that is you go over to our Facebook page, First Down Sports Podcast, and you click like or follow. Like will automatically make you follow. So get over there and follow us, because you're definitely, if you're a fan of the MFL, you're definitely going to want to hear what we have to say, not just on Saturday, but there's a special day coming up this week, and we'll give you some more details later on.
All right, so that's your MFL update. Now, Andy, once again, we have a special report coming in. Our very own Jeannie B has snuck on to the Mount A grounds.
Oh, my old stomping grounds.
And she has a little bit of a special report for us about the Mount A Mounties.
Let's go over to Jeannie.
Let's go to Jeannie.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Andy. Jeannie B on location, Mount Allison University. I snuck in again. We're 2 months away from the AUS football season. Mount A has a new head coach, Peter Fraser. He's originally from Ormocto. He brings 18 years coaching experience. He most recently is defensive coordinator at the Windsor Lancers, and he was previously with Acadia University. Peter brings a new focus and energy to the Mount A football program. Peter, as a player, was a defensive lineman for the Ottawa GGs in 1998 and 1999 before an injury ended his playing career. Mount A season starts August 25th, home against Bishop Gators. Stay tuned for more AUS football. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Jeannie. As a Mount A grad, I cannot wait for this season. I'm super excited about new head coach Peter Fraser. Now, Ray, I graduated with a Pete Fraser.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure that this is not him. If it is, we're going to see some pretty bad football from the Mounties this season, and that's all I'm going to say.
Wow. Well, I'm going to find out who this real Peter Fraser is, and I'm going to reach out to him, Andy, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a First Down Sports exclusive interview with him before the AUS season kicks off in August.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Yep. Sounds great. Now, Andy, before we get out of here, we got one more topic we need to talk about, and that's the Moncton Black Tide Rugby.
Excellent.
Remember how we told you that the two teams were heading to St. John this week to
Yes.
play? Well, they took on the St. John Trojans. The men came out in that game 46-12. Another dominating performance by the men.
Yep.
The MVP of that game was Simon DeLatter. Okay. The
job,
women
Simon.
had another really close game, but just fell short, 39-24. They're heading on Friday night down to Fredericton to take on the Fredericton Loyalists at 7 p.m. So keep an eye for that game.
Yep.
As far as the men go, they're off this week. But in Halifax on Saturday is going to be a big day in the rugby world because the national Canadian men are playing an exhibition game against the national U.S. men.
Wow.
And here in New Brunswick, we have a guy named Cole Keith out of Sussex is looking to make the roster for the national team. It hasn't been set yet, so we'll be tuning in for more information on Cole. Best of luck to him, and we'll be keeping an eye on how Canada does in that match against the U.S.
Absolutely. Good luck, Cole.
There you go, Andy. That's our topics for the week.
Awesome. Well, before we get out of here, listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, please help support our YouTube channel. Give us a like. Even more importantly, what we like even better, please leave a comment on the video. We love that. And subscribe to the channel so you can get some updates as to when we post something new, because we post way more than local sports on here. We also have a podcast where we talk all things football, right, Ray?
That's it. We got CFL, NFL. We got all football covered.
Like, comment, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. And that's it for this week of Local Sports, guys. Can't wait for the championship game this weekend, and we'll tell you all about it next week.
Have a great week.
Andy here, guys. How's it going? Listen, though we shout this guy out pretty much every week, I have to give an even bigger and extra special shout out to our favorite MFL player, Mr. Donnie Mitchell, this week. We finally got to meet him in person during the weekend's game, and he insisted on bringing us a gift because he's a big supporter of the show. He's always leaving us great comments. Listen, when you're starting out in this podcast thing, and you're a small operation just trying to build, a guy like Donnie can make it all worth it on his own. So listen, Donnie, thanks a lot. Ray and I will find a way to get over to the island soon, at some point this summer to return your cooler, which contained your excellent gift, and we'll bring you some first down swag. Maybe we'll get a golf game over there too. Thanks, buddy.